is open, Kate, at BC Place, in just a beautiful October Saturday night in Vancouver for the final regular season home game for the Lions. They want a playoff game as well against Calgary. How they do tonight could be a major step towards that goal of finishing second in the West to first place Winnipeg. Speaking of 1-2, Glenn, in the receiving department, yardage, two great receivers in this game tonight, including the top guy, Winnipeg's Dalton Schoen.
Yeah, absolutely. The two leads in this performance tonight are receivers, in Dalton Schoen, the rookie who leads the Canadian Football League at 12.75, and just 34 yards behind him is the BC Lions' Dominique Grimes. Dominique with 1,241 yards, and we will see in real time tonight those two go head-to-head to try and take the title, at least for now.
This is one of two meetings to close out the season between these two. 2 weeks from now, in the final week of the regular season, they will meet again in Winnipeg. Terry Williams back for the kickoff along with James Butler. As the Lions won the toss, they want the ball. Week 19 wraps up part 2 of the Saturday doubleheader here on TSN. Glad you could be with us. And we are underway at BC Place in Vancouver. Terry Williams settling down at his 20 to take it. Going to his right. Gets up across the 40. Good return by Williams, who keeps it going. Mark Leggio lost one back to save Williams, breaking for a touchdown after a 40-yard kick return to start things off for BC.
Well, they have those metallic gray uniforms that the fans here in BC love. Great crowd tonight, great pregame, and what a way to start with a big return by Williams. 40-yarder. Give Vernon Adams some great field position in drive number 1.
Terry Williams starting his season with the Ottawa Red Blacks. They let him go after they brought back Devontae Dedmon, and very quickly found a new home in BC. So 1st and 10 for Adams at the Winnipeg 50. Can't find a receiver. Steps up and slides for a gain of about 3 yards. Vernon Adams in just a handful of starts he's had so far since coming over.
Yeah, basically 34th start of his CFL career, but he is 2-2 since taking over as the starter for Nathan Rourke when he was injured early in the season. So 500 so far, but a big one. They want to lock down home field in the semifinal.
To 2nd and 8, looks to his right, throwing, completing for a first down. And that's Alexander Hollins, who made his debut last week, and a big touchdown grab he got against the Argos in Toronto.
Yeah, right out there at that number 1 receiver spot. We'll put the spotlight on him. Had a really nice touchdown, as you mentioned, and had a big play taken off the board for a holding call as well. Looked like the Lions have found another one.
Down to the Bomber 36. Opening possession in this game. Adams throws back a screen. Gets that one to Butler, who has some room, and he is taken down there. Malik Clemens coming in to help take him down after a gain of 11 and another Lions first down. Let's look at that offense now, brought to you by Expedia.
Yeah, one change for Philip Norman. Jarrell Broxton will play at guard. We've seen him at tackle at different times for the Lions last year, but he's in there for Philip Norman tonight. And there is Dominique Grimes, who against the Bombers early in the season, a big game, 136 yards receiving and a couple of touchdowns.
He's over 1,000 for the second time in his career. Also did it in 2019 in Ottawa. So a 1st and 10 to Winnipeg 25. Vernon Adams blitz coming, and still can't find a receiver, and still on the move, getting away from Jake Thomas inside the 15 and down to the 10. Vernon Adams, as he's wont to do, can make it happen with his legs when he can't find a receiver.
Well, it's great pocket presence to start with, and then he realizes that his time has run out, and he's going to use those legs quickly. I mean, this is 16 yards, great scrambling, and, you know, we've talked about the starters for the Bombers, and there's some changes in that starting lineup because they've locked up first, but not on defense.
Another first. It's a 1st and goal. Impressive start to this game for that BC Lions offense. Handing off, Butler finds room, 3-2-1, touchdown, BC Lions. Now that's a start.
What a start. Big return by Terry Williams gets things going for the BC Lions early. Second effort to finish the drive from James Butler. And some pretty fancy footwork by VA in the first drive of this game.
For Butler, his 6th rushing touchdown to go along with 4 through the air. 10 in the season. I was talking to him a few days ago, and that was important to him. Get double digits in touchdowns. And he gets that done early. This one here, and the point after try coming from the veteran Sean White. We're just a few minutes into this game, under 3. BC in a good place to start after that Terry Williams return. Vernon Adams, and then Butler taking it home. 7-0 Lions.
Let's go back to the big block up here from Javon Catoy to wash down his man and Keon Adams. That defensive end for the Bombers. That allows James Butler to bounce. Watch him take the ball to the play side, which is the left side of the formation. Bounce all the way back because of the block by Javon Catoy. And then it's one-on-one with the safety Brandon Alexander. Alexander often wins that battle, but not this time. James Butler finds the end zone.
And he comes in with 809 yards rushing. Another goal of his individual one to reach 1,000 on the season with 3 games to go. Good start for Butler and the Lions. It's Janarian Grant on the return. And gets finally taken down up to the 35. So on comes Drew Brown, whose last start was in college in the 2019 Texas Bowl for Oklahoma State.
Yeah, spent some time at Hawaii. Also, Oklahoma State as a backup to Taylor Cornelius in that first year, and has been with the Bombers a couple of years, working behind Zach Collaros. Been successful in real limited action coming off the bench for Collaros. One early in the year when he was knocked out because of protocol for a few plays.
Threw a touchdown pass last week too.
Look out.
The Elks. Oh my goodness!
Saw that coming.
Coming in hard was Tyneil Cooper. The field corner, Rasheed Bailey, hitting him on just as the ball arrived.
Yeah, I thought that Cooper was going to take that one back to the house. He broke downhill out of that one and just read it so quickly. All over Rasheed Bailey. Look at this break. Playing on the corner for Jalen Edwards Cooper.
So a second down, and that one is complete. Brown getting it to Brady Oliveira, and he gets taken down just shy, about a yard shy of first down, up around the 44 for Winnipeg.
Close enough that it probably Michael O'Shea has taken a good hard look at it. Within a yard. It's like they're going to put short yardage out there and go for this. Seeing more and more coaches comfortable with that 3rd and 1, no matter where they are in the game or where they are on the field, to go ahead and try and get the first down.
3 more big boys, and Dakota Prukop, short yardage quarterback, in now on a 3rd and 1 for Winnipeg from their 44. Prukop has enough. Gets over the 45, and that is enough to move the sticks as Winnipeg's offense continues.
It'll be fun to watch. You know, the differences is not just a quarterback for Drew Brown and that change, but also no Stanley Bryant or Jamarcus Hardrick at the tackles. So it'll be Eric Lofton out of Temple and Jeff Gray, who we know about. There's Dalton Schoen. We're going to see Schoen and Dominique Rhymes go head-to-head to try and take first place overall in the receiving yards list.
First down, 46. Oliveira, fake to him, and he throws and completes it to Dembski. What a run Nick Dembski's been on at this part of the season, as he gets another first down and a gain of 15.
Oh, yeah, he has. I mean, Nick Dembski has become, for the Bombers, the player, he and Dalton shown that you have to game plan to try and stop. That's how much they are confident in Nick Dembski and how much they use him. He's had a touchdown in 6 straight games, at least one. On a roll in the last month and a half. You have to game plan against him.
So Brown has the Bombers on the move. Brady Oliveira gets the fake again, and then he takes off. Drew Brown,
yeah,
known for the wheels as well, and he takes off to get another first down.
Well, first start, and this is one thing that he has in his repertoire, a chance to take off and run. He did it at Hawaii when he won that Hawaii Bowl against Middle Tennessee when he was the starting quarterback at Hawaii. He threw for 4 touchdowns, was the MVP of that game, and ran for a touchdown. We know he likes to take off and run, use his legs.
Down inside the 40, the 38. And a little inside toss. That's Greg McRae. And this is a very impressive answer by an offensive Winnipeg that's made a lot of changes for this Bomber or BC defense to go against.
Woody Barron's going to start the interior alongside Nathan Cherry. And in the linebacking core, Jordan Williams starts, but they will rotate again with Bola Combo, Ben Hladek, and Williams there in those 2 linebacker spots. And Tennille Cooper already with a big play on that opening throw from Drew Brown, although the Browns got a nice drive going here.
That first pass was incomplete, the one you talk about. Since then, it's completed 3 straight, 3 for 4 for 32 yards. And a 2nd and 1 now. And Oliveira takes this one and gets more than the one, a lot more. And this drive goes down near the BC 20.
81-57, the overall record for Michael O'Shea as the head coach of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. 81 wins, 3rd most all time, and poised to go after a three-peat, which in the modern era of sport and free agency just does not happen very often.
You're right. Such an impressive run by Winnipeg. On the toss, Oliveira. Gary Peters coming in, steering him back inside. A short game that time by Winnipeg.
Interesting move there from Drew Brown just to kind of show the ball. It wasn't really play action because Oliveira was already swinging out, but just showed the ball. And the reason for that is to try and influence the defense and bring him towards the middle and maybe get his tailback on the edge. Didn't work. The Lions strung that out pretty nicely defensively.
He was signed by the Bombers March 11, 2020, just before the pandemic kicked in. So he was with the team a long time before ever taking the field. Under pressure, trying to get away, but he can't. He is tripped up. It's Sione Tuhema in his first year with BC with his 8th sack of the season.
Yeah, he's having a big year as a rookie, probably their nominee. Boom Guachum not in the lineup at that defensive end, so Tiema gets a chance to get the start. Takes it a long way around. He goes all the way around the edge on Lofton and catches Drew Brown from behind.
After that opening BC touchdown, Winnipeg's offense was able to get down in field goal territory inside the 40 for Mark Leggio. He was 30 for 34. 2 for 2 last week against the Elks. And a good start for Leggio as he pumps that one through from 38. And Winnipeg does answer back with 3. Dominic Rhymes, 2nd in the CFL in receiving yards. His team leads it by 4. The last time these teams met, it was actually early July here at BC Place, and the Lions lost by 3 touchdowns, but Dominic Rhymes had himself a day.
Yeah, you'll notice with these 2 touchdowns and some of these catches, Rhymes was covered pretty well on all of these plays, and yet just won the jump ball, won the contested 50-50 catch. And of course, Nathan Rourke was the starting quarterback at that time, and Vernon Adams off to a good start tonight. He was 2 for 2 in his opening drive and 18 yards rushing from Adams as well.
So, 2 drives and scoring in both of them. A touchdown for BC, a field goal for Winnipeg. Back in the hands of the Lions. Terry Williams had a great return to get them across midfield to start last time around. This one, they'll start around their 40, and Dominic Rhymes talked to Rick Campbell about when the Lions got him. He coached him in Ottawa in a 1,000-yard season in 2019. And when he saw he was available, jumped at the chance to get his old player back.
Yeah, 31 times this season he has made the money catch. That's what I call it. In the stats, it's the 2D catch, the second down conversion catch. But I call it the money catch. because you get a new set when you make it.
The money this season, that's for sure. 1st and 10. Vernon Adams under pressure and taken down. It's Casey Sales. Adams has faced a lot of heat so far in this game. He's been managing to escape it, but not that time.
This is the starting D-line, so no changes there for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers on their D-line. They're going to go with Keon Adams, Thomas, Sales, and Willie Jefferson. Jackson Jeffcoat didn't play in their last game. He's been nicked up. So D-line is their starters. They get home there.
And that was the 5th sack of the season for Casey Sales. Lost his 6th, 2nd and 16 at the BC 34. Adams, the 3-man rush. A deep ball down the left, and that is knocked away. Coverage was there by one of the newcomers to that Winnipeg defense, former Ticat, Desmond Lawrence.
Yeah, getting a chance to start tonight because Demario Houston's been out for a while. They had Jamal Parker at the corner. They moved him to halfback. And so Lawrence tested there on the deep ball.
Canarian Brent, Johnny Augustine back for this punt. And a good punt it is by Stephen Flintoff. 58-yarder in the hands of Grant. Burst right up the middle. Janarian Grant, who has the only punt return touchdown in the CFL this season, and nearly broke through, but as it stands, second big return we've seen of this game tonight. That one for 37 yards.
Did the kicker get both returners?
I think so. last line of defense, right? That close to being a Winnipeg touchdown. Bomber ball, down 4. I mentioned Janarian Grant has the only punt return touchdown in the CFL this year. He also has a kickoff return touchdown, Suits, the last time these teams met.
Yeah, that was week 5 when Winnipeg coming to town here in BC, and Janarian Grant takes the opening kickoff to the house in that one, over a 90-yarder. As another big one tonight, Terry Williams. We got some special teams action out of the gate.
Got things launched for the Bombers in a high-scoring game against BC. Back then, Drew Brown, he goes down after about a yard, maybe 2.
Well, let's take a look at who is Mr. Drew Brown. Oklahoma State, as you mentioned, but the University of Hawaii first, and left the University of Hawaii as a starter. And after the MVP performance in the Hawaii Bowl, and just to go to Oklahoma State, go to a bigger school, played behind Taylor Cornelius there, and has been learning ever since the Canadian Football League from one of the greats in Zach Collaros.
Flags out with the snap of the ball.
Procedure. Winnipeg number 64. 5-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down.
Liam Dobson, who's starting at right guard. One of the many changes Glenn laid out with this Winnipeg offensive line. A lot of change.
And Michael Couture getting a chance to get back in that center spot too. He's missed a ton of this season due to injury and has been back dressed the last couple of games, but this is the first real playing time he'll get back at center, and then move Kolinkowski over to guard.
Dobson, originally from Ottawa, played at Maine and then Texas State. Over the middle, deflected, nearly picked off. Jordan Williams got his hand on it and is forcing Winnipeg to punt.
Be a deep crossing route here. I thought the throw was pretty good, but a real deep drop from Jordan Williams. Look how deep the linebacker gets to help out on any of that intermediate stuff so that Luchez Purefoy can stay deep on any deep route.
Terry Williams back for the Mark Leggio punt. Angled off to the right. It's a good bounce. Well for Winnipeg, not much room there for Williams, who does manage to get it up just across the 15. Nathan Rourke. He's been out a while now, but still very much involved. Farhan Lalji will have his story and an update on his condition. Could he be coming back soon? Nathan Rourke has missed 6 games, but as you can see him move around, his condition has drastically improved. Let's get an update now from Farhan Lalji.
Yeah, Rod, it's looking more and more as though Nathan Rourke will be back in uniform in 2 weeks when the Lions play the regular season finale in Winnipeg. Rick Campbell, very bullish and optimistic, and I spoke to Rourke earlier today and asked him, and yeah, he's pretty optimistic as well. Now, there's no guarantees, but barring any setbacks, that is a reasonable timeline. The plan is he'll be taken off the 6-game injured list on Monday. He'll begin limited practice next week, full practice the following week, and then play in some capacity again, barring a setback. And I said, look, what do you need to feel right now? Because there is still some pain. It's not injury pain. It's more related to tightness and just a lack of use. He says, I want to be as pain-free as possible, and I also want to be able to run because I don't want Jordan McSimic, the offensive coordinator, to be limited in any way in what his play calls are going to be when I'm back in the game.
Thanks, Farhan. We'll give a little refresher on what he did earlier this season in a moment. Vernon Adams handing off in a big hole and nicely threw it. James Butler looking for that yardage on the ground, and he certainly has it there. Gain of 18.
Yeah, well, whether it was York or VA playing, they get Butler, and James Butler has been back of late. This is a big run off the left side, but yeah, you know, just to remind folks that Nathan Rourke, when he was starting, was 8-1. You saw that graphic, but he was well over 3,000 yards. In fact, Zach Collaros and McLeod Bethel-Thompson just recently passed Rourke.
Which is crazy when you think about it. And a hit there by Alexander on Rhymes before he went down. Dominic Rhymes.
So I mentioned up front that the Bombers have their starters minus Jackson Jeffcoat, but he's been out for a couple of games. Willie Jefferson will be the focal point. 9 knockdowns, 7 sacks for Jefferson on the season. Again, disrupting. Adam Bighill starts in the middle. Alden Darby was picked up before the trade deadline, so Darby gets some playing time tonight. And there's your halfback and Evan Holmes and Winston Rose on the outside.
And Antonio Pipkin comes in on the second and less than a yard to take it across the 45, move the sticks, first down BC. Richie Hall, defensive coordinator for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Nothing changes for him. You know, nothing changes for him. Nothing changes for the defense. They've want to play to their standard is the goal tonight. We may not see a full game from Adam Bighill.
What a standard that's been the last few years for Winnipeg's defense. Handing off, Butler again. More room to run. Butler still going. Inside the 40. Adam Bighill finally hauls him down, but not until he gets it inside the Winnipeg 30. 37 yards for James Butler.
Let's see what happened to Adam Bighill, because he looked like he was right at the point of attack. There he is in the linebacker spot. He tries to slide to the wide side B gap, and a nice cutback by James Butler goes to the opposite B, and then he is down the field.
He's already up to 63 yards rushing, and he has a touchdown. Adams is taken down nicely, scrambling, and he could not avoid Jamal Parker on the tackle.
Yeah, it was almost like Vernon Adams ran right into this tackle. I mean, he's going to take off and run right into it. Parker's 45 is right in the middle of your picture, and he's out there secondary contained. He's racing Adam Bighill to get there. Vernon Adams may have had a play if he pulled up and ran right to the tackle.
This will be the last play of the first quarter. BC pressing again, although lost yardage that time, 7 of them, 2nd and 17. Oh, in and out of the hands. And a high throw for Rhymes there, so incomplete. And looks like a field goal situation coming up for Sean White when the second quarter begins. Interesting first quarter. Lions got a great kick return right out of the gate. Butler with the touchdown. Winnipeg did respond, but it's a 7-3 Lions lead through 15 minutes. Through 15 minutes, this game also featuring 2 of the top rushers in the CFL, and Brady Oliveira and James Butler. Is at the better quarter. He's up to 872 for the season, chasing Oliveira in that department.
Yeah, they've got the running game going. The BC Lions. It's 63 yards rushing for James Butler and has 1 catch. an extended running play for another 11 yards. So they've got Butler going, and this is against the number 2 defense against the run. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers coming into this game this weekend, and they're having some success early on running the ball.
And to your point, it's a lot of change on offense, not a lot of change personnel-wise on the Winnipeg defense.
No, exactly. They're human beings too. So you lock up first place in the division a month before you're going to play that game. Some personnel changes have been made, including your starting quarterback not playing. You just have to try to find that level.
And to start quarter number 2, 41-yard kick there for Sean White to increase the Lions' lead and get it back to 7 points.
But listen, the Lions have had success with James Butler against teams that have been fighting for the playoffs and teams that, in the middle and the thick of things before anything was locked up. So this is an area of the Lions game that they've been successful at.
I know it's been a long season for the Edmonton Elks, but what a statement game Butler made in week 1 here against Edmonton when he had 2 touchdowns running, 2 touchdowns receiving.
Exactly.
He certainly got noticed. A career highlight game for him. Coming into the game 3rd in the league in rushing behind Kadeem Carey and Brady Oliveira. Speaking of Oliveira, a little slower. Tough to find that real estate going there.
He's trying to catch Kadeem Carey, of course, at 1,000 yards. Got to 1,000 yards last night. Big win by the Hamilton Tiger Cats to fight off the crossover from Saskatchewan, which was a huge win for them. Also considering they haven't won in Calgary for so many years.
Going back to 2004, what a rally by the Ticats when it looked like they were done. Big win of McMahon. 2nd and 7. Drew Brown. His deepest ball of the night, and that is overthrown, intended for Nick Dembski. Manny Rugamba there in coverage on number 10.
Yeah, boy, you have to be aware of where Nick Dembski is and what they're trying to do with him. Buck Pierce has really found the magic, I guess, in Nick Dembski, because of all the different ways he used him that we've talked about throughout the season. But you also know that as a defense and a defensive team that's getting ready to play the Bombers now, that might have to roll coverage to Dembski.
Mark Leggio standing just inside his 30 now. Terry Williams awaiting at a high snap. Leggio easily gets it away, and Williams backpedals to the 15. Oh, he could be a game breaker, though, as he breaks a few tackles and just won't go down. Shane Gauthier coming in to help out Reddick Cramdy and make sure that Williams goes no further. Next week, week 20, second last week of the regular season. Really interesting matchups here in the East. You got the Red Blacks and Tiger Cats to start things up in Friday Night Football, followed by the Lions and the Elks as BC tries to get closer to wrapping up second place. But Red Blacks and Ticats, I mean, there is a battle for the final playoff spot in the East, should there be no crossover. And then you got the Alouettes and the Argos right down to the end.
And the Riders against Calgary.
And Riders Calgary
still fighting and clawing to try and get that crossover spot.
Good play defensively. Coming in, Jamal Parker just got to the feet to prevent Butler from getting anything going.
Yeah, I mean, he just played the play. I've said this before, where late Don Matthews used to tell us on defense, he said sometimes don't worry about your assignment. Just go ahead. If you see the play and you know what the play is, go ahead and make it. Because there's no way the halfback, unless he's going on a blitz, and he didn't look like he was on that, there's no way that he should just run after the tailback behind the line of scrimmage like that.
2nd and 10. Oh, it gets knocked at the line, and now who would be capable of doing that? I see number 5 seems to be rather tall. Yeah. I think he has some experience batting balls away, doesn't he?
It's crazy. It is just unbelievable. I mean, 9 knockdowns. He doesn't lead the league anymore. For most of the season, he's led the league in knockdowns. And when you think about that, I mean, that's a stat for DBs. I mean, they get them at the line of scrimmage, don't get me wrong, but number 5 just has a knack for it. Willie Jefferson.
The Defensive Player of the Year in the CFL in 2019. Janarian Grant on the punt return. Breaks through. Here we go. Janarian Grant.
He's gone.
We have another one. The only player in the league with a punt return touchdown has just added another. Game breaker, Janarian Grant.
Early on, the cover team for the Lions on this return were missing the Main Street lane. Every lane should be taken up, and they were missing one right down the middle, and Janarian Grant figured it out quickly, got there, and then used his speed to bounce outside and take it 94 yards while nodding to his teammates along the bench. Yep, I'm going in.
It's like he's saying, I got this. I got the ball. I'm heading for the end zone. And we showed that highlight earlier, the previous game here back in July. That was the opening kickoff. A kickoff return for a touchdown. So another return TD. That's number 3 now in the season for Janarian Grant. Breaks through, and he's gone.
Yes,
we
sir.
got a tie game.
Yes, sir.
Zach Galaris likes it. Drew Brown, too.
To execute a big return like this by Janarian Grant, you need 12 guys on the field that are making great decisions, and one of their great special teams players for the Bombers is Jesse Briggs. Jesse Briggs is going to make an excellent decision. He's right here, and he doesn't have anybody to block right now, so instead of getting a clip or getting himself in trouble, he allows his back, get out of his way, make a block on the backside, and give Janarian Grant just a little bit of room so he can bounce outside and use his speed and just nod, yes, sir, to every one of his teammates as he takes it to the house.
That's a great look. The guy that's got 2 punt return touchdowns, and he had a kick return touchdown against BC. 1 of 11 returns for touchdowns in the CFL this year. We got a good return here. The return game, I was going to say, it started with Terry Williams with the opening kickoff when he set up the Lions nicely.
You get a feeling that Williams is going to break one himself, possibly to the house. Now, this is a great special teams unit here in Winnipeg. They love to cover, but one more look from Janarian Grant's point of view. A little move there. Pulled a couple guys out of their lanes, and then away he goes. This was a bit of an issue for the Lions early on, their cover teams.
A lot of great returners in the league. Mario Alford certainly found the end zone. Lawrence Woods, Devontae Dedman back in the league. Well, not getting as many chances there, but 11 more yards for James Butler, who is just racking up the yardage now. 74 yards Butler has in the first half.
Yeah, this is a case where if it's not broken, don't try and fix anything. Just keep doing this to Butler until, and there's lots of different ways to do it. You don't have to do the same run off tackle every single time. You can get him outside wide, sort of counter type plays.
Shy of midfield, throwing that time. And for the first time in this game, Keon Hatcher, who really had a hard-earned touchdown in Toronto last week, has the ball.
Jordan McSimic trying to keep that balance in the offense with a lot of Butler early on here, and then the quick game on that little curl to Keon Hatcher, who's playing in the spot of Brian Burnham. Burnham with the wristish injury.
BC without Burnham and Lucky Whitehead. Whitehead's expected back next week in Edmonton. 2nd and 4. Oh, in tight coverage there, intended for Rhymes.
Vernon Adams pass intended for Dominic Rhymes.
Incomplete, 3rd down.
Yeah, it's a couple that Rhymes should have, though. You know, there's a lot of traffic here, but we showed you the last time these two teams played and the game that Rhymes had. And he was making these catches. They were deep balls and sort of different dynamic, but they've been in his area code anywhere. 19's come down with him.
Well, not going to play with Janarian Grant again, even though that one sails out close to penalty range. And the flag does finally come out because it has to. If it goes out in midair, it's got to be inside the 15. Farhan will have more on the Drew Brown story when we come back. It's Drew Brown's first CFL start. Some things you may not know about his connection to the league. Let's go down to Farhan.
Yeah, Drew Brown has known about the Canadian Football League for quite some time. His father told him about it when he was a preteen. In fact, his father was a linebacker, Dave, at Washington State. And one of the players he played against was Warren Moon, and he followed his career a little bit when he played for Edmonton. In fact, Dave also spent time at the Alouettes training camp in the late 70s, early 80s, and he told his son this is a pretty good league. So Drew told me when he was about 9 years old, he decided he was going to be a pro quarterback, and his dad said if the NFL doesn't work out, that is a really good league up north. For his part, Zach Caleros has said he thinks this guy's going to have a long career as a starter in this league. He's got the perfect temperament, skill set, demeanor, and all of it. Brown, meanwhile, says he has learned everything from Caleros, not just football, but also about how to manage it all, being a great dad, being a great father, all of it while being a quarterback.
And Farhan, he starts off this drive with a completion to Rasheed Bailey. Yeah, Brown had heard about the league and said that when the Bombers came calling and wanted to give it a shot.
Yeah, I'll just correct his dad. It's a fantastic league, but but yeah, and I think it's throughout his entire career. I mean, he started at JUCO, a junior college in San Mateo, College of San Mateo, and he took a while before he got to. It took a year before he got to Hawaii because he kept betting on himself to make it to that next step, and he went from that JUCO school to Hawaii, became the starter there, mentioned he was the MVP there in the Hawaii Bowl, and then to Oklahoma State, and could have just stayed at Hawaii and probably stayed the starter, but decided to go and bet on himself again. So he's doing the same thing here in the Canadian Football League, trying to bide his time between a great one and the MLP. I mean, Zach Caleros is the MLP of the year.
Oh,
there's no question. I mean,
heavy betting favorite now to win it again.
The only guy that was really pushing him in the first half was Nathan Rourke until he got hurt.
And Brown's learned so much from him. Dakota Prukop is in after a short gain by Johnny Augustine, so a third down gamble again. And Prukop, short yardage QB, had to get to about the 36. A little bit beyond is more than that.
And there's still the debate, I think, a little bit going on throughout the country about Nathan Rourke and, just tearing it up in the first 9 games of the season. And should he still be considered? But, I just, the win-loss, the touchdown-interception ratio, the win-loss record, I think it's Zach's best year.
I think, and a lot of stats in the touchdown passes and the yardage. This is the first year he's gone over 4,000. And some of the reason in 2015, recall that season, I think he would have, but he got hurt a little past the halfway point while he was with Hamilton.
His ability to create out of nothing this year has just taken his game to a whole new level. I think there is no question he's the MOP.
Agreed.
Look up!
Picked off! Marcus Sayles has it. 45-yard touchdown return, and BC has the lead again.
Well, to the drawing board for the young Drew Brown. He's going to have to learn that these outs in the Canadian Football League are a little bit further to throw, and the timing has got to be right there, right on time. I mean, again, limited action before this. He's in the middle of the field, so it's not like this is a wide field out, but he has to go down to get the ball in that snap, and that takes his eyes off the coverage. He didn't see Marcus Sayles coming downhill to break on that ball. He just reared up and let it go, and 14 takes it back to the house.
Getting some congrats from his defensive coordinator, Ryan Phillips. Marcus Sayles, former Bomber, with a pick 6 against his old team. This has been an eventful game so far. Big special teams play, big defensive play. Marcus Sayles in coverage on Rasheed Bailey. And one Drew Brown would like to have back. Sayles taking it back all the way for another BC touchdown.
Timing is everything on this out route. Here's the out route from Rasheed Bailey, and the ball has got to be in the air before the receiver comes out of his break. So right here, the ball, you should be able to see the ball right about there so that it arrives before Sales can break up on it. But the ball's not in the air yet. Another steamboat, another 2, another 3, too late. DB's going the other way.
Marcus Sales with his second interception of the season. Picks off Drew Brown. Got a pick 6. Back into the hands very quickly on a line drive kickoff by Flintoft. Into the hands of Janarian Grant. What else has he got? He's had a lot so far in this game with a punt return touchdown and up across the 40 for Brown. Come back out, but here he is. Marcus Sales.
Former Bomber.
Spent some time in Winnipeg, and that's got to be sweet.
So this is one that Drew Brown's got to shake off, and his teammates over there, no problem, don't worry about that. Adam Bighill, one of the first to go and just give him that little tap and say, hey, let that one go, don't worry about it.
Can't dwell on it long anyway. He's right back out there, and he's handing off. That's McRae, Greg McRae on the carry, up near a first down, a gain of a little over 9 yards.
That's a great call too by Buck Pierce, right, Rod? I mean, young guy just throws a pick, and it's a pick 6, and you know he's thinking about it. So get him back on the field, and when the first one, just let him hand it off. And also you get a manageable situation with a successful run on 2nd and 1 here. Take the pressure right off him. Prukop comes out in short yardage. And now he should be able to flush it. There's a former quarterback that understands that dynamic.
A former quarterback who played for both the BC Lions and Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Buck Pierce, Dakota Prukop takes that one to the right easily enough to pick up the Winnipeg first down as Brown will be coming back out again. Mentioned, you talked about that game in week 1 when he had to come on quickly for Zach Collaros because of concussion protocol and engineered the winning field goal drive. He also threw a touchdown pass to Dalton Schoen last week.
Hey, if you know, when you see him coming in, here is that drive where Zach Collaros had to come out. He was forced to come out. 3 quick completions
in under a minute too.
Yeah, setting up the game-winning field goal.
A 25-yarder by Leggio to beat Ottawa in week 1. Nick Dembski.
And listen, if you haven't, as a quarterback, especially getting to this level, if you haven't thrown a pick 6, then you haven't played. You know, I mean, everybody that gets up gets a chance, get on the field. They're going to have the highs and lows of professional football, and they're going to have to bounce back from a mistake. It's one of the boxes you want to check in a young guy. And one of the reasons I like the decision that Michael O'Shea made to sit Zach Collaros here and play Drew Brown. This is an important learning game for Drew Brown in case they need him in the playoffs.
Prukop back in. He's been busy so far with all these short yardage situations. You raise a good point, though, that yes, this is about making sure your prize quarterback doesn't get hurt. But yeah, if he got hurt later, you want the guy behind him to have some reps.
Yeah, this is that lesson that he learned. Marcus Sales picks him, takes it to the house. He's got to figure out how to flush that, and in the very next series, grab the momentum back with the drive. Now, they've done it with some run game here. That's excellent, but get rid of it. Let it go. Don't let it fester so that one bad decision becomes 2 or 3 in a row. And that's the difference between guys that hang around and play a long time and guys who don't.
Now that was a 2nd down play in short by Prukop, who initially went off as Brown came back on, but they might have to, oh, they did get it. They weren't sure at first, kept it marked at 2nd down, but it is a first down now as Prukop will head back off and Brown back on again to keep this drive going, down by a touchdown. Into this game, having thrown just 7 passes this season, 5 for 7 for 127 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. picked off in this game. And he gets away from one rushing defensive lineman, but the Lions do eventually catch him back at the 50 and a loss of 3 yards.
I think David Menard was the first Lion to give Drew Brown some trouble. I think that's David Menard right there. Boy, what a great season he's having, rotating with Matthew Betts, the defensive line for the Lions, and he gets him in trouble. And a good decision by Drew Brown not to try and force something, throw another pick, but to eat it and live to go another day.
Clock ticking down under 3. Last play before the warning. And a 2nd and 13. Winnipeg. Brown off to the left. He does complete it to Bailey. Gets a gain of 6 and not nearly enough for the first down as the warning is issued. BC, they have the lead thanks to the Sales interception for a touchdown. 17-10 late in the first half.
3-minute warning coming up at halftime. We'll talk a little James Butler, a little Janarian Grant, and maybe what else? What else are we talking?
You have 9 more seconds to fill, so keep going.
Winnipeg D.
Winnipeg D?
Yeah, Winnipeg D.
All right, we'll talk those 3. Roll Silver!
That's not good, Stiegel.
What Stiegel's, he's hosting and he's directing? He's calling rolls? Is there anything that man can't do? Kate in the panel, including 85. Coming up to the half.
A legend in his own mind.
There you go. Mark Leggio. Seeing if he can get some of this back. But no, it falls short. Had the accuracy. Just not far enough. And here's a big return. Another one. Here we go again. Terry Williams on the missed field goal is still going. He's not hauled down until he gets it inside the Winnipeg 20. And the big plays just keep coming.
Great close-up shot of Terry Williams in that opening kickoff that he took back to midfield, and he just looked like he had a focus about him, a shot right in the helmet, and he just looked like he was focused and ready to go to work tonight. Every time he touches the ball, gets the real good crowd here at BC Place, and it's a great crowd up out of their chair.
Leggio was trying a 52-yard. Lucky Whitehead celebrating that. And then off the screen, BC, Javon Catoy gets it down around the 10, just inside. Depending on the spot of the ball, it does look like it'll be a 1st and goal.
Putting on a show tonight, our returners.
They certainly are. Williams and Janarian Grant, who has a touchdown. With that one mentioning, Mark Leggio's hit from 55. It was accurate. He just did not have the distance, trying a 52-yarder to close it to a 4-point game. Instead, BC has a chance to stretch their lead heading into halftime. Vernon Adams complete down around the 6. No, they wave it off. It was in the hands briefly of Rhymes and falls incomplete, so 2nd down and goal coming up.
Jordan Maximic can't forget about James Butler. Now it's 2nd down, so 2nd and goal. Probably a passing down from where they are at the 10. But Butler off to such a good start in this game.
To the end zone, wanted Keon Hatcher. It falls incomplete with the safety, Brandon Alexander, closest to him.
Yeah, they played too high. They brought in Nick Hallett to play safety with Brandon Alexander, and they put Alexander to that side, that wide field. So just really well covered. That ball was thrown out of bounds too.
So it still is the makings of a 6-point swing with the missed field goal by Leggio and the return setting up this drive for Sean White. See if they can stretch the lead to 10. put down, put through. Another field goal for the veteran White. And we have a 20-10 game now with 1:38 on the clock till halftime. Such an interesting point now in the final couple of weeks of the CFL regular season before playoff time. Both of these teams know they're in the playoffs. The Bombers first in the West again. They'll host the Western Final November 13th. Will it be BC? It'll be either the Lions or the Calgary Stampeders. You can safely say that as BC's trying to get home field advantage for the Western semifinal.
Some work to do there.
They do. Winnipeg at the 40. Keeping that on the ground and gain of 5 yards for Johnny Augustine.
Yeah, I was going to say, we haven't seen Brady Oliveira for a couple of series now. That's Johnny Augustine on that run and Greg McCrae on the last one. Again, Bombers have first locked. Can't improve their standings. So will some of the starters play a little bit and then rest the rest of the game?
Oliveira has 3 carries in this game tonight, but as you say, we haven't seen him in a while. 2nd and 5, Brown checking it down to Dembski, and a good open field tackle there. That's Josh Woods with that tackle on Dembski.
That's a real good tackle because that's Nick Dembski makes a living out of these one-on-one battles and scores a lot of his majors and a lot of his big plays because he makes this one guy beat him. Now he makes that one guy miss, I should say, and he tries to get the edge there, and Woods just tracks him down and hog ties him. In time, 3 seconds. Wrap that rope around and away you go.
Should be in Calgary. The 3rd and 2.
We got another return. Is there another one dialed up?
Flags on the play.
Flag coming out before the ball is snapped.
Time count violation. Winnipeg. It's a loss of 10 yards. Still 3rd down.
Well, it gives Terry Williams 5 more yards to work with. Excuse me, 10 more yards. What a half that Williams has had.
Good first half all around. We see some big plays on defense, on the return teams, and Janarian Grant with a 90-yarder plus.
Timekeeper, please reset the clock to 48 seconds. 48.
And Williams got it started with the opening play of the game with a tremendous kickoff return to get it down to the Winnipeg 50. They ended up driving down quickly to take it in for the touchdown. So Leggio to Williams again. Shorter punt 2. Taken on the run at the 40 and taken down. We've said the name Jamal Parker a few times, certainly for what he's done on defense there, for good tackle on special teams as well. 39 seconds until halftime, and then we'll hear from Milt Stegall and perhaps others. Maybe we'll hear from Kate, might hear from Dave or Ches.
Ches on the pick 6. I mean, come on. DB's
got to hear from him there.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying Milt might want to just take over the whole conversation.
Yeah, that's true.
And he's directing it too, which I'm not sure that's been done. So he might be calling cameras. I have no idea. This will be interesting to see. Throwing it up and nearly coming down with it. The intended receiver there was Alexander Hollins. Vernon Adams.
Sorry. Yeah, Vernon Adams. He tries to step up in the pocket. Hollins is open. I mean, he runs a double move here, and he's got a couple of steps, but he has to come back. Because the pocket was kind of collapsing around Vernon Adams, and he threw from deep in there. It looks like challenge from Coach Campbell, trying to see if there was pass interference as he went by.
GC is challenging the previous play for defensive pass interference. The play will be reviewed.
As you were talking about that, looking at Desmond Lawrence and the contact that he made before the ball arrived.
Yeah, we got to see it again. When I saw it live, it didn't look like much. It was a well underthrown pass, but see how the pocket, he can't really step into the throw. That's why it's nowhere near long enough. Well, that's more than I thought. It twisted Hollins around. When you twist the receiver like that, you're impeding him to the football. He might win this challenge. He does look back, but there is early contact, and contact that does move Hollins inside, doesn't it?
One of those plays that you've seen these happen that at game speed, at live action, doesn't look as bad as when you see it on a replay.
Yeah. It looked like he just kind of swiped him as he went by, but he did turn him. I'd be interested to see how the command center sees this, but it looked like a significant amount of contact.
Well, the difference is this could be 3 more points.
Absolutely.
Given field position for the Lions and where this happened, if it is PI.
How about Alexander Hollins making an impact? Just a couple starts.
PI or no PI? They have decided.
After review, we have pass interference against Winnipeg number 46. Automatic first down.
Good challenge.
Successful challenge by Rick Campbell. And the Lions, just a half minute to go, are in business again.
Nathan Rourke down there, he's taking a look at it. He said, oh yeah, that's a good call. There's a whole nother fan base and bench that didn't think it was a good call. No, hey, when you turn the receiver, you are in fact impeding him to the football. That's going to get called.
38-yard penalty to take BC to the Winnipeg 32. 32 seconds on the clock until halftime. For Vernon Adams, 4-man rush, and he completes that right at the 20 to Hatcher, a gain of 12.
You got to
nice
be
and close.
Managing the clock here, Rod. You know, this is Vernon Adams. Got to make sure he keeps his eye on that time clock to make sure that they don't miss an opportunity for at least 3 points here. But there is time for 2 or 3 plays. It can take a shot. One of those corner route type plays where either your receiver catches it or nobody does.
So from the 20 now, under 20 seconds, it's batted at the line and caught by Adams. Can't throw it again, and he gets taken down. And losing some valuable time on the clock, too, with a loss of 3 yards. It's down to 12 seconds.
Well, now they're trying to figure out, can they execute one play without losing the time on the clock if it's not successful to try a field goal on 3rd down. Once again,
timeout BC.
Willie Jefferson gets his hand on the football. It's like throwing it around an oak tree.
We'll just have to throw it straight up in the air. Hope he can get a little bit of an arc on it. Drop it down in the bucket somewhere, but
or roll away from 5.
Yeah.
You know, like, you can't play both ends.
He has proven to be a nightmare for so many quarterbacks. Getting those arms up. So that's twice tonight. Statistically ruled a catch and a loss, not a sack. 2nd and 13. 12 seconds until halftime. They'll try one more play, or else it's Sean White time. And it's a look into the end zone. Adams, coverage there. Rhymes. Touchdown. Well, forget 3. How about 7?
Well, that's the type of play I'm talking about. You run a fade route, and it's, you know, this one gave Lawrence a chance. Desmond Lawrence going one-on-one with that top receiver in the league, and Dominique Rhymes. Rhymes goes up and wins the jump ball. And when you have a simultaneous catch between receiver and DB, which it looks like happens here, that goes to the offense. and that's why the official ruled it a touchdown.
The cap off a 4-play, 70-yard quick drive at the end.
Hey, you know what it is. You go through adversity to be great. Come on. You know. They can't hold me too long.
And that's the 11th touchdown receiving for Dominique Grimes this season. So Sean White with a point after. That missed field goal, I said it could be a 6-point swing.
Well, it's the right throw. It's a one-on-one. You're going to your number one guy. You give him a chance, but if it doesn't happen out there, it didn't take any time off the clock. Just a few seconds on the fade route. If you don't win that jump ball, you make sure that he does an interception. If you're Dominic Grimes, you can't have an interception here, but you could kick the field goal on third down because there's still time on the clock even after that play. So the right call, executed well. Jump ball one, and you saw Dominique Grimes go right over to Vernon Adams after that and say, I got you. Don't worry about those throws, those 50-50 throws.
So BC turns it on late in the half. And that penalty certainly helped the pass interference call against Desmond Lawrence.
Interesting kick return setup for the Bombers. They only have one returner essentially in Janarian Grant.
Gets squibbed short. Reddick Crabtree has it. Went to barely past midfield and on the hop. And look where they are in the field with still 2 seconds to go.
Well, you can't run a play here, so are you going to give your kicker a chance? If you're Michael O'Shea, is Legio get another shot at a long one, and he's going to give it a shot? I mean, that's the downside of a squib kick. That front line gets to it. You got real good field position right out of the gate and a chance to maybe grab 3 here.
So this would be a 53, a little over between 53 and 54. He missed a 52. He's hit a 55 this season. That was to win it in the Labor Day game against the Riders. Of course, the only downside is a guy by the name of Terry Williams. He had a big return last time around.
Short again.
Just short again. Here comes Williams. And they've got him this time.
Got to go get some gas in the tank.
He's done a lot of running in that first half. Part of many big plays as it ends with BC in charge, leading the Winnipeg Blue Bombers 27-10. Let's go back to Kate Burness and our CFL and TSN studio. Halftime at BC Place, the Bombers trail in the game, but Janarian Grant sets a franchise record. All-time touchdown returns. He now has 7 with 1 punt return touchdown tonight. Here he is now with Farhan Malji.
Janarian, 171 return yards for you in that first half alone, including the big touchdown. Your second punt return touchdown of the season. Just how much of a groove are you in right now?
Not enough groove. You know, I got to keep going. You know, one play at a time. You know, I want to thank my teammates for allowing me to get to the end zone, man. We just got to keep going.
2 pretty impressive returners in this game. Terry Williams is having a good game himself. Yeah, going back and forth a little bit?
Most definitely. You know, that's what the game about, you know. We're going to be on top. And, you know, you just take it one play at a time.
Thanks for this.
Yes, sir.
Janarian Grant. Yeah. So the punt return touchdown, as Farhan mentioned, 2 in the season, but 7 for his career. And
Terry Williams.
Yeah, well, he said the credit goes to James Butler for good. That both of them had a very strong first half.
I love how Janarian wants more groove. I just want some more groove. I don't know if you can get more groove. We had over 400 yards in returns in the first half.
Returners certainly kicking it in this game tonight. Second half to begin. It's a 17-point Lion lead, and it'll be in Janarian Grant's hands to start this second half, presumably, off the kick from Stephen Flintoff, and Grant indeed down to the 16 to take it. Cuts the corner, heads outside, up across the 40 for Drew Brown and the BC Lions to come on Brown, 7 for 11 for 58 yards, and that one very costly pick ended up being a Marcus Sayles touchdown for BC.
Yeah, the only thing I would say, about Drew Brown, he's playing against a good defense here with the BC Lions, number 1 against the pass in the CFL, but he hasn't targeted Dalton Schoen tonight. That first half shown 0 catches. Dominique Rhymes just 1 yard behind him for first overall in the CFL in receiving yards.
Second half underway. Johnny Augustine. Brady Oliveira was the starting running back, but they've been resting him now after only 3 carries, and it's been Augustine carrying the rock.
Yeah, and again, changes on the O-line. Jeff Gray playing tackle. Eric Lofton playing on the right side. There's Oliveira. Looks like just going to be watching from the sideline as this game goes on. Michael Couture getting a chance to be back at center. Veterans in the interior, guys that have been around with Winnipeg for some time, but not the starting group.
2nd and 8. He runs out of time again. Drew Brown is taken down, and it's David Menard. Suits you're talking about what a great rotational defensive end he's been. He was in Montreal as well, and he definitely gets the sack on that one. That's number 8 of the season.
Well, and they've had to get along, right? Because Matthew Betts went to Laval and David Menard went to University of Montreal.
Big rivals.
So they've had to figure out how to, get along as members of the BC Lions. But he just slaps a hand. He fought through the early double team to get there.
To get by Chris Kolinkowski, who had been playing center and moved to guard for this one tonight. Here's Terry Williams, and he gets hit there by Malik Clements, and he does with a flag coming out, gets it up to around the 45.
During the return, illegal block, BC, number 82, first down.
The guys talked about it at halftime. Good first half for James Butler in the run game. 5 carries for 74 yards and a touchdown. That touchdown on the opening drive of the game for the BC Lions.
And Vernon Adams in his 5th start, taking over after the injury to Nathan Rourke. Took a couple of games after Rourke had left. Michael O'Connor had started, Antonio Pipkin, but since Adams, a record of 2-2, 8 for 14 for 82 yards and a touchdown in that first half from the BC 25. Their first possession of this second half, leading by 17 into the hands of Butler again. Great first half that James Butler had with 74 yards rushing and a touchdown.
So a couple more changes on defense for the Bombers. Just a couple starters out. Looks like Adam Bighill, captain of that defense, he's going to be out. That last play, Shane Gauthier played in his spot right here, and that's Malik Clement also playing linebacker, rotating in that core. He gets in on the tackle.
Les Maruo in there as well, 0-0 for that Bomber defense. On the 2nd and 7, and Adams loses the handle. BC gets it back, but it got batted away just as Adams was trying to reload under all that Winnipeg pressure.
Sure, who got it? Jake Thomas, the captain, the captains of this team, and I always think back to that first year they won back in Calgary, and first guy to get the Grey Cup was Jake Thomas.
The longest serving for a team that waited a long time to hoist that Grey Cup. Now they've done it twice in a row, looking for 3 this year. Janarian Grant on the return. Tripped up there. The good tackle by Josh Woods on special teams. So back comes Brown. 27-10 BC, third quarter. First CFL start for Drew Brown. Some good things and certainly some bad too.
Well, 7 of 11, 58 yards, and he got Dembski the ball a couple times. He got a little bit of a running game going at times in that first half. That was the mistake. That low snap took his eyes off the coverage, and Marcus Sayles took it to the house.
From the Winnipeg 46 for Brown. Taking to Dembski coming across, and that's a low one for Augustine right at the 50. Second down coming up.
Yeah, I think the biggest difference, though, I mean, the playmakers have been Dalton Schoen and Nick Dembski. And Zach Collaros has done such a great job of finding those guys, establishing them early, sprinkling in a little bit of Rasheed Bailey here and there, and the rest of the receiving corps. But Dalton Schoen quiet. Played the whole game so far.
Second and 10. Escaping the rush. Throws on the move. And right past the first down mark, Rasheed Bailey caught the ball. Was his foot down?
That's a great catch. And you know, it was a good throw because of the speed by which you saw Brown. He was on his horse. I mean, he was being chased full speed, slings it going full speed, and that's a nice catch. Keep his feet in bounds. One tap. Did he get the tap?
Just wondering that.
Oh, they're going to wave it down now. They
was wondering as Rick Campbell throws that challenge flag again. He's 1 for 1 on the night, but didn't look like Bailey's toes touched down inbounds.
BC is challenging the previous play of a completed pass. The play will be reviewed.
From the referee, Tim Croker. So Rasheed Bailey made a nice effort stretching out to make the catch. No question about that. Did he land in bounds? Command Center's going to have a look.
It's a really, really nice play. We'll see if it stands.
It would be a terrific play for the Bombers, but was he landing in bounds? Here's what they decide.
After further review by the command center, the ruling on the field stands.
So it's a catch.
It's first down, and BC is charged with their second timeout.
So Bailey gets the catch and a great play. And another look at it, and it definitely wasn't the feet. It had to be the judgment of the knee going down in bounds.
Well, and I think maybe that knee did touch in bounds just before the rest of the thigh comes down out of bounds. But again, this is under review, so the ruling on the field was a catch. You have to have enough evidence to take the catch away, and I would say that the command center didn't have enough evidence.
So goes down as a catch for Bailey and followed up with Greg McRae in an 8-yard run. Set up a 2nd and 2.
And Rick Campbell will lose his timeout.
But you were making the point before about Brown. A very nice effort rolling out, escaping the rush and throwing on the move.
That's hard to do. Try it. You know, go home after the game, roll out downtown Vancouver with a football.
I'm going to do that.
Full speed, try and throw it with that kind of accuracy.
I'm going to do that. No cameras, please. But I think there's a guy on that team that's pretty good at that play. Rolling it to the right, throwing it into the end zone.
He's been unreal.
He's having a break tonight.
Look out. Didn't get there.
Wow.
Not at all.
Now that's second down. The second down play did not get there.
Yeah, but 2nd and 3, I'm sure the Bomber strategy here is like, even if you get 1-2 yards, TJ Lee just stepped up and cut it off. This is always the risk going side to side in short yardage. The risk is you get a defender that gets up the field and in the backfield and catches you going laterally.
So Brown comes back in now. On a 3rd down, 2 to go. And he completes it. Nick Dembski, a big 3rd down conversion.
How about the veteran getting his hands underneath very deliberately on this low throw? I mean, the throw from Brown is a little bit low, and watch how deliberate Nick Dembski is. Both hands down. He wants to show the official that he's got it. Sir.
Good to test the mettle of Drew Brown as well on a 3rd down gamble. And they do convert. This time, the play fake, tossing it off. And that's Rasheed Bailey with it down out of bounds just inside the 25.
Pretty good move here, but Marcus Sales just kind of ducked his head. This is out quickly on a little push route because of the pressure, and Marcus Sales kind of ducks his head. So when you stop tackling with your eyes, you're going to miss. Rasheed Bailey, nice little move to bounce outside.
Gain of 14. He has 4 catches for 39 yards on the night.
Please put 17 seconds on the 20-second clock. 17 seconds on the 20-second clock. Thank you.
Well, you said it before. Yes, it's about resting Zach Collaros, but it's about giving the backup some valuable reps. They've gone for it on a 3rd and 2. He completed that nice pass to Bailey earlier. Part of the development of Drew Brown, the 7th play of this drive.
Yep.
Dalton Schoen, and as you talked about, Glenn, just hasn't seen the ball. Looking off to the left.
There he is.
Looking down into the end zone for Schoen. He got it. Touchdown, Winnipeg. How about that?
Give him a shot. He'll get it for you.
22 yards. Dalton Schoen with another one. That's his 15th touchdown of the season.
Boy, his judgment and ability to adjust to the football on the fly is just outstanding. He just measures up his defensive back into Neil Cooper. Measures him up, doesn't push him off really, just measures him up so he knows the timing of when to turn, jump, and cradle that in over his shoulder. That's an outstanding catch by Dalton Schoen, the leader. Now he retakes the lead.
With number 15. It's almost like he's saying, call me if you need a touchdown. Had a quiet night. All of a sudden became very loud there with Leggy on the point after. Right through. And it's down to a 10-point lead for the BC Lions. The rookie who just doesn't play like a rookie. The uncommon Dalton Schoen. And the first touchdown pass thrown as a starter in the CFL for Drew Brown.
Buck Pierce must have looked down at the stat sheet and thought, hey, number 83 hasn't got a pass yet. Let's get him one. And he puts him in a different position at wide out to the wide side. But I want to show you, first of all, his body control when the ball in the air, but also how he's measuring up Cooper. Just trying, he's not pushing off Cooper. He's just got his hands on his arms, measuring up to time up his turn so that he can block out the DB, and it's almost impossible to try and defend that. Just a well-played catch by Schoen.
Terry Williams on the return. Terry Williams has some room again. Or he's knocked out of bounds, but what a night Williams has had. This guy's night, well, it boils down to one play, but what a season Dalton Schoen has had. As mentioned, his 15th touchdown, leading the way in the Canadian Football League.
He's hurting me and trying to rally for you. But he's getting that early. I thought I was getting
Well, he had played in the slot most of the game and, throughout the season. So Buck Pierce put him out there for a reason. He put him in a different position. He put him out at the wideout spot and threw the fade to him, and he delivered. As did Terry Williams to get a little momentum back after the score.
268 return yards for Terry Williams on this night. Vernon Adams, that's complete. Inside the 30. Javon Catoy has a big run right after the catch, too, to get it down about the 22, a 27-yard play for BC.
Vernon Adams with a nice look off here, Rod. He's gonna look wide first. Go ahead and snap it. Go ahead and run it, guys. And here he goes. Stop it right there. See, he's looking now this way, but he's gonna throw it inside here. And that's just to pull the linebacker out and then throw it into the curl to Javon Catoy.
Catoy with his second catch of the night. 1st and 10. Here comes BC. Taking that one inside the 20. It's James Butler. Quieter second half so far compared to the first, but still having a very good night on the ground. Night for the offense.
Good Jordan Maximic didn't forget about 24.
Butler up to 80 yards on 7 carries. And the Winnipeg 19 and a 2nd and 6. Adams has time. He looks into the end zone. Oh, Rhymes went up for it.
That's the signal for a challenge. I don't think Rick Campbell has one. Because he challenged that out of bounds and lost the challenge, lost the timeout because of it, so he can't challenge for pass interference here. And there are no flags.
That again is Desmond Lawrence covering him. And Campbell did have a successful challenge earlier on a Lawrence play on Rhymes, but no challenges left.
Yeah, coach walked right over to him and said, yeah, I didn't have one. Looked like pretty good coverage anyway.
Making his Bomber debut, Des Lawrence, coming over from Hamilton. 26 away, Sean White. They answer back after the shown touchdown with a field goal. And it's a 13-point BC lead, third quarter. Not just a change at quarterback for Winnipeg in this game tonight. Big changes up front on offense. Let's go back to Farhan.
Yeah, Rod, all 5 starting linemen tonight for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are either first-time starters or playing in different positions right now. The one exception is Michael Couture, the center. Now, he's been back for the last month, but for 3 of the last 4 weeks, he's basically been Winnipeg's 6th offensive lineman. That's a pretty good luxury to have because when he went down, the team took Chris Kolinkowski and moved him to center. He's been one of their highest-graded offensive linemen this season, so when Couture was healthy again, they didn't immediately go back to him, but he has been their starting center for the last 2 seasons, played in the Grey Cup game a year ago. Interestingly enough, the BC Lions made a heavy pitch to get him. He's from the area, was raised in Coquitlam, played at Simon Fraser University. Ultimately, he wanted to stay in Winnipeg, has a great relationship with Michael O'Shea and the offensive line coach, but now Winnipeg's going to have a decision to make this offseason with what they do at center because it's a plethora of riches for them right now, so they're not replacing with a rookie. They've got some quality they're replacing their starters with.
And Farhan on a 1st and 10 at the Winnipeg 40. Brown stepping up. A flag comes out as he completes that pass. Couple of flags. Different locations there. But yeah, Mike O'Shea told us, as Farhan mentioned, that it was important to him to get those reps going for Michael Couture as they get closer to the playoffs, even though he was very happy with the job Chris Kolinkowski did filling in at center.
Of course, they have Hardrick and Bryant back at tackles for the West Final.
Holding, Winnipeg number 67. Illegal contact, BC number 1. Those penalties offset, replay first down.
So, nothing happened, nothing to see here. Let's take a look at the work of Michael Couture on that last one. The center steps up on Matthew Betts and just nice little stop with the left hand, full out extended.
So first down again. Brown. He rolled to the left and throws that one to Dembski just across midfield.
Yeah, that's a tough throw to make too. You know, whether if you're rolling right and going full speed, very tough to make that throw with accuracy, but this is even worse. I mean, it's even a higher degree of difficulty to get out to your left after the play action. Our camera got sucked in for a second too, as we all did, and then on the roll to the left, getting that shoulder back around and slinging it in there into number 10.
I've been fooled in some of those play fakes, so that's a sign.
Me too.
That's a sign of a good play action fake. So another first down, just across midfield to the BC 53. And that one intended for Dembski and sails by and falls incomplete. You mentioned the tackles and Stanley Bryant, Jamarcus Hardrick not playing tonight, and neither is Patrick Neufeld. So
yeah, exactly.
Some veterans, as Farhan alluded to, all the change up front on the offensive line for Winnipeg. Bombers head into a bye next week, and then they've got the Lions to close out the regular season at IG Field in a couple of weeks. Then after that, they host the Western Final, either BC or Calgary. November 13th, Brown. Complete. Dembski.
Brown passes.
And where is the semifinal? That's what the Lions are playing for. Two routes there. O'Leary Orange on the inside slant, and then Dembski, the second layer. Throw it away from coverage. And again, Nick Dembski going down to get it.
Gets it to the 42. A gain of 11 for Dembski.
Got Janarian Grant in there.
Gain of 4 for Greg McRae. Running back by committee now that Oliveira's out of the game. Last time they had the ball, they drove down for the Dalton Schoen touchdown. So second straight solid drive for Buck Pierce's Winnipeg offense. A lot of different faces in there. Ryan Phillips, defensive coordinator, former outstanding player for the BC Lions for years. 2nd and 6. A little high. The pick nearly. Luchez Purifoy might have had a shot at it on the high throw by Brown.
Well, we've seen Zach Collaros make this play so many times on the seam. When they think that they've got something in the middle, they're going to send Nick Dembski, whether that's his route or not. I'm convinced that he's just reading this on the fly. And Drew Brown, right after he let go of this one, he just dropped his head and shook his head going, oh, I had him on the inside road. He can't believe it. And he had time and a nice clean pocket.
Mark Leggio on for the field goal try. He missed 2 earlier on. One from 52, one from 54. This one will be on 45. Brukov putting it down. Heading left, and it is wide this time. He had the distance. And here's another return by Williams on a missed field goal. Another good return. He got tripped up.
How about the big boy? Liam Dobson.
Liam Dobson coming down. What a great shoestring tackle there.
Oh, well, hang on. We got to replay this, man. I mean,
absolutely.
We got to go back and take a look. Here he is right here. Here he goes. He's lumbering. Got to get him. Now, this guy's, what, half his weight and speed to burn, and dives over. Big right arm. Trips him up. Nice.
Well done, Dobson. Give the big fellas their credit. The coverage team, it's been a rough night for both coverage teams. Some big returns. Williams has certainly had his share, but denied some yardage there. James Butler back in. Back getting yardage too, up to the 45, a gain of 12. So he gets closer to 100 on the night.
Jesse Briggs in there at linebacker now. Makes sense to go ahead and test the front 7. The front 4 is still basically the same, but their linebacking core completely different.
Good for Butler's stats too. He's now gone over 900 on the season.
Good play.
But that's a nice play to prevent him from getting anything else. That's Keon Adams, who had been with the Saskatchewan Roughriders before he was let go a few weeks ago, signing on with Winnipeg.
Well, we've seen a couple of plays like this, Rod, where the Bombers sort of have just not guessed, but they've just felt like they're going to go to James Butler, so they're going to crash down with those edge. We've seen a halfback do it in Jamal Parker as well. And the way you can try and beat that now for Vernon Adams is to pull the ball and get the corner, at the edge, if they're going to crash down that hard.
2nd and 9, last play of the 3rd quarter. Pump fake. Adams stands in, goes deep as receiver, falling down, intended there for Keon Hatcher. And we are through 45 minutes. It was a 17-point lead to start the second half. Bombers got a bit closer. Little drive going there for Drew Brown, leading to a touchdown to Dalton Schoen. BC still in charge, 15 to go. the numbers through 3 quarters and close in a lot of departments, although the rushing yards still with Butler having over 90 now in the night, over 900 on the season. He's getting closer to 1,000 yards. But interesting, the Winnipeg decision to go for it in that 3rd and 2, given the score and everything else, seems like an ongoing experience and a good one for Drew Brown for that touchdown drive.
Yeah, it's clear that Michael O'Shea is managing this game a little bit differently than he normally would, and giving Drew Brown some different looks and different experiences to try and work through. But you know, both these teams are 9-0 when leading after 3 quarters.
Yeah.
So the Lions lead it right now, but when you have a championship team like this, even with their backups in, are they going to make it uncomfortable for BC in this 4th quarter?
13-point Lion lead into the hands of Janarian Grant after a 42-yard punt. He had a big night. Earlier first half with a punt return for a touchdown. 2nd time this season.
Remember those early wins when the Bombers went on such a roll? I mean, you know, they had Ottawa out of the gate and won by 2 and then by 1 possession. And, you know, those first 5 or 6 wins for the Bombers were you know, close games where we were saying, coming out of them, we were saying, you know, they're finding a way to win. This championship team is finding ways, different ways to win. Now they became more dominant as the season has gone on, and Zach Collaros put together a real good campaign. But you know, don't rule them out in this 4th quarter. Make it very uncomfortable on the BC Lions, even with their backups.
Drew Brown to the right, and Sales, who in a similar spot on a lower pass, jumped in front and picked it off in the first half, taking it for a touchdown. That one gets his hands on it. It goes incomplete.
Yeah, that was again a timing issue for Drew Brown, because there was a window there to get the ball to his receiver and Dalton Schoen. It was in between that short coverage guy and Marcus Sales over the top, but he had to throw it a little earlier. If he throws it earlier, he's just in behind Gary Peters and well in front of Sales. But he waited a little bit too long, and that brought Sales into the picture.
2nd and 10. Brown runs out of time, but he runs away. And he gets rid of the ball to a wide open receiver. It's shown. First down and more inside the 40. Finally taken down by Woods. And Brown looked like he might be sacked. And there is an injured player back down the Bomber backfield for a gain of 36 yards.
Well, it looks like the Lions are going with 3-man pressure here. I think that was Chris Kolinkowski that gets rolled on after the fact, but just a great play out in the open field by Drew Brown, keeping his eyes up and finding Dalton Schoen.
It is indeed Chris Kolinkowski, who mentioned earlier, has played much of the season at center with the injury to Michael Couture, who came back at center tonight. And
Tyler Witt out of Purdue come in.
So with all the changes that they had made to the offensive line, making another one now with Kolinkowski down.
Just saw it like the other week that no one's allowed to tackle Tom Brady. Is that the new rule?
Yeah, that's been much talked about. The injury to Chris Kolinkowski.
Boy, that throw was Zach-like.
It really was, wasn't it?
Yeah. That's what I mean about, you know, what Zach Collaros has done this year, just creating, throwing around the rush. They're taking a look at the knee of Kolinkowski. But this was a throw around the rush. Woods off the edge.
So Kolinkowski getting some attention now, and Drew Brown is off on the short yardage, brought to you by Dakota Prukop. Been doing this a lot tonight, gets another first down, and back comes Brown. And then we talked about all the changes. Mike O'Shea wanted Michael Couture, former veteran center, to get back in some experience after spending much of the season on the IL when Kolinkowski has been playing there, and now Kolinkowski's hurt. Couture had been playing center all along tonight. Kolinkowski had been at guard.
Drew Brown finishes this drive with a major, it gets uncomfortable for the BC Lions, just like that. One possession.
We've seen in this league, 13 points disappears in a heartbeat. Here's Nick Dembski. Inside the 25. Manny Rugamba, first year Sam linebacker for BC.
Like, this is a good example of playing Drew Brown in this scenario is, a second and long. Got to get back in the game. It's 2 possession. You got to make it a 1 possession game. Anything can happen, especially in the final 3 minutes. But this is where the pressure mounts, and you get to know what your backup quarterback's capable of.
Second and 8. BC 25. Running away again to the right. And similar to the one to Bailey earlier, Rasheed Bailey coming back to the ball for 10 yards. Does a little bit of talking after, but see another one with Brown successfully completing, rolling out to the right.
And and right now they're trying to hustle up to get this next play called so the command center can't take another look at it. But I think his arms were underneath, and that was a good catch.
Well, again, there'll be no challenge from Rick Campbell.
There is a BC Lion down on one knee, and the Bombers were trying to get the snap done so that it couldn't be looked at.
David Menard seems to be fine as he walks off. But the catch to Bailey.
It's a catch.
It counts, and it's down to the 15. Here comes Winnipeg again. They're down 13 points, as you say. Make things interesting here. By the way, I talked to Brown a couple of days ago and said, what do you hope to get from this game, aside from the obvious, the wins and losses, or the win?
Yeah.
And he thought about it. He really did. And he just said, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be boring here, but I only got one thing. I want to win.
Hey,
he wants to win this game.
Winning is not boring. And they've done a lot of it, this Bomber team, over the last few years.
Thought it might get some insight into, experience, all these other things, but no, he just wants the W. However it comes, touchdown, Winnipeg! Rasheed Bailey.
Oh, baby. But uncomfortable. It just got uncomfortable for the team that needs the win to get closer to home field in that semifinal. The Bombers are in first. They're cooling their heels at first, but again on the run, going full speed and dropping a dime to Rasheed Bailey, who's made some tough catches along the sideline to keep drives alive.
They can't mess with us. Let's go, Chief.
Rasheed Bailey, 7 catches, 74 yards. Bailey didn't have a catch last week. That one was his 7th touchdown of the season. What a breakout season it's been for 88 as well. Rasheed Bailey getting them closer. I don't think it's just Drew Brown really counting on a victory tonight. Bailey gets into the end zone. Winnipeg's not done. Rasheed Bailey with the touchdown, and don't look now, all of a sudden we got a 1-score game.
I put Luchez Purefoy in a bind there with the route combination that Winnipeg had. But a great throw on the run by Drew Brown. He's showing us that he can really be accurate when he gets outside the pocket.
He's had a couple of those plays, breaking free, rolling to the right, completing them to Bailey. Close ones, big ones. Talk about big ones, big returns in the night for Terry Williams, who he almost makes this routine. Seems like a shorter one, and he still has it close to midfield for BC.
I'll show you what happens with Purefoy, the safety here. Now he's going to roll with Drew Brown going this way, but Dalton Scholl runs a corner route here, and there's the curl that's going to end up being the touchdown to Rasheed Bailey. But Luchez Purifoy has got to go with Dalton Schoen here and stay a little bit deeper, and that opens up right there Rasheed Bailey on the curl. But again, you have to be accurate on the throw, rolling to your right, full speed, fading away from the rush, and Drew Brown was there to get it done.
They get within 6. They were down by 17 at one point at halftime, and the defense, with all their changes too, seem to be pretty fired up right now.
Sharks started to get a little frenzied there. The defense started to get a little frenzied there. That wasn't like a big hole there for all of a sudden for James Butler. He was just, the door got shut. They said, hey, our young quarterback is bringing us back here. We're down 1 possession. Let's get a stop and get him back on the field.
Second and 10. Nothing for Butler that one. Adams completes that one for a first down. Alexander takes down Rhymes. Took him down hard after he had him stopped right at the first down. Dominic Rhymes is still down.
I was going to say it was borderline tackle here from Brandon Alexander, I believe, who came across on this curl. And we've seen this called before. This where the defender kind of just whips around and throws the ball carrier to the ground. Saw it last night in Calgary. There was a call, and that line is a little blurry as to
what in this day and age is roughing and what isn't.
Exactly.
Right?
Now the quarterback, there's sort of a tougher standard, I believe. They're obviously, because it's a vulnerable position, but this is the same thing. I mean, Dominic Rhymes has given up there. Like he's said, okay, forward progress is stopped, and then he gets kind of body slammed. And I don't blame Brandon Alexander. He's not trying to be dirty there. Right. Yeah, he's just trying to get him wrestle him to the ground. But they're, both leagues are starting to call that.
Right.
And call that unnecessary roughness.
I was going to say, whether you like the rule or not, had Rhymes been a quarterback, that's a penalty.
Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't matter that, we hope that he's fine, but it doesn't, he thought it was a penalty too, and I'm sure his coach did, but whether he gets hurt on it or not, it's just got to be clear what the standard is so the players know.
Well, it looked like he had some words there for Brandon Alexander. Gives him a smile back. I don't know if he had anything for the officials too. Some of the fans did, but Rhymes with a touchdown earlier in the night for BC. Heading off now. He didn't make the first down catch though. First down Lions in Winnipeg territory at the Bomber 50.
Go get him. Does everybody understand? Let's go win the game. Yes, sir. Let's go.
And Ryan Phillips firing up his defense. Now just a 6-point game. Adams completes that one. That's Keon Hatcher. Picks up about 6.
Keon Hatcher.
Quick game there. I would consider this to be field goal range, though. So you want to make sure, if you're Vernon Adams, that you don't give up a sack here. If you decide to throw it, if Jordan Maximic decides to throw it on 2nd and 3.
It would be about a 50-yard try for Sean White. And a field goal would make it a 2-score game.
Exactly.
Handing off. Not getting much. Not getting the first down.
See where they mark this, though, because I would say it's a short by about a yard, but it's a little bit of a second effort where he rolled off it. Well, they are going to bring it back to about a yard, just over a yard. Antonio Pipkin coming in.
So they will go at 3rd and a yard. BC Lions tied in wins with Calgary, but the Stampeders losing dramatically to Hamilton last night at McMahon. BC with a chance to go 2 points ahead of the Stampeders for 2nd place in the West, which would mean home field if they can end up there. Still a couple of games left. Pipkin goes wide. Gets the first down.
It's a gamble. It is always a gamble to take the ball along the line of scrimmage like that. One guy shoots the gap, it gets upfield. One of these defenders gets upfield. He is caught behind the line of scrimmage, and it's Winnipeg ball. But he was predetermined. I mean, he even lost a couple of yards. He bellied back to try and get the corner and just gets it done. Okay.
So they keep going down to the Winnipeg 37 and a first down. BC trying to make it a two-score game again. Back to Butler, left side, has some room down to the 30. Over 100 yards too is James Butler on the night. First time this season he's done that.
Keon Hatcher crashing down hard. Now, if the ends are crashing down that hard, there's often a linebacker that's in charge of sort of secondary contain. So if he crashes down again, there's usually a secondary containment.
2nd and 3 after that 7-yard carry by James Butler. He's had a busy night. That's caught for a first down, and getting up to is Hollins. Alexander Hollins in his second game, the BC Lions.
Just good with just quick game here for Vernon Adams. A little bit of run and on first down, or in this case to move the chains, only needed 5 yards. So those quick curls, getting the ball out of his hands in a hurry. Well called and good drive here so far by Jordan Maksimic, offensive coordinator, mixing things up and getting the ball out of number 8's hands quickly.
Hollins with 2 catches, 19 yards. To the Winnipeg 23. Over the middle and caught. And that is Katoy inside the 20. Another second down coming up for BC.
Second and a little longer here, though. A little bit different. This is where Richie Hall can dial up a bit of a stunt at least, or maybe even come full blitz, expecting Vernon Adams to try and throw this.
Jacob Scarfone out wide to the right.
Here comes the safety.
Got a blitz coming. Adams gets it away. Looks like it got deflected a little behind. Intended for Daniel Peterman and falls incomplete. Adams frustrated.
Well, got tipped. Yeah.
Yep, got tipped. 3rd down and 4. So field goal team coming on.
Well, it's a quick slant because the safety in this case was Nick Hallett, was one of them, and he came down to the line of scrimmage. So Vernon Adams was expecting and anticipating that it was full blitz and wanted to get the quick release on the hot route, was just a little bit behind his target. And they're going to have to set up for a field goal, which is an important one because it makes it 2 possessions.
Brian Cole in playing now in that Winnipeg defense. The linebacker was the one that got a hand on it. So Sean White. About the 25. Money. 3 more on the board. BC. But 5 minutes to go here in the 4th quarter. 2-score game again. Lions lead it by 9. Big play on the right. Janarian Grant with the punt return touchdown. Terry Williams. Can you believe the night the returners have had? Williams had a big one. No TD, but a lot of yardage. And it's the most kick return yards combined in one game ever. Beat the record by the Stampeders and Argos over 10 years ago, back in July of 2012.
Now, I love all football. I watch both sides of the border, college ball. You know that. I mean, we all do. But you won't see 500-plus return yards in any other league in the world.
That's just crazy. And it was right out of the gate, too. And right with the opening kickoff.
They have put a show on. Pretty much every return, they've made something happen. Those 2 guys have been outstanding tonight.
Grant got the touchdown. But Williams has had more of them, more of the big returns, including the one in the opening kickoff. Krukop in again on 2nd down and short. By the way, let us throw some names at you from that game. 39-36 between the Argos and Stamps, where they had the return record. Remember Larry Taylor? Larry Taylor in kickoff yardage alone in that game had 222 yards. Punt return yardage 70 more. Missed field goals 136. He did a lot of that himself, and then you get Chad Owens with the Argos, who had a big day on the returns. But the new record is tonight for return yardage. Thanks to Terry Williams and Janarian Grant. Toss inside, getting the ball in Grant's hands on offense, and look what he does afterwards. Getting Janarian Grant involved.
Well, I have a feeling Buck Pierce is going to make a little note. He's going to put a star beside this play for when all the starters are back in the lineup.
Winnipeg.
You know, especially after watching Janarian Grant go to work on the teams like he's done tonight. I know they've done it before, so it's not a new play for him, but a 22-yard gain. He just so dangerous out in space. It almost makes the tacklers kind of walk on eggshells to try and get to him. A mental note, number 80 in the offense, like that. Check.
Something an OC always has to think about when you have an explosive returner, how you can get him involved in other ways. You know, Ottawa's tried with Devontae Dedmon too when he was healthy after his return coming back. The BC 37 for Drew Brown, and they got him. Brown taken down again. Another sack for the Lions defense. It's the ex-Alouette Woody Barron. Second quarterback sack. It's coming to BC. 9-point game. Winnipeg football. 3 minutes to go. Mike O'Shea thought it should be roughing the passer. This play by Woody Barron on Drew Brown. Command center taking another look. And they've made a call on that.
After automatic review by the command center, there's roughing the passer against BC. It's a 15-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
On the left hand from the left hand there from Woody Barron underneath grabbed it was basically a face mask, but he pulled him down by the helmet. The right hand's okay, he's over the shoulder pad, but that hand underneath grabbed the face mask, ripped the helmet off Drew Brown. So Michael O'Shea made sure he got the attention during the commercial break of the officials, and they made the automatic call from the command center.
That moves Winnipeg up to the 22 of BC. And that's complete. That's Brendan O'Leary-Orange with his first catch of the night down near the 15. Gain of 7 yards.
Well, we've seen some wild final 3 minutes over the last couple of games.
Why not this one?
Score here, why not? Let's keep her going. Over 200 yards passing now for Drew Brown in his very first start in the Canadian Football League.
Rough start suits early on, but he's 19 of 27, 242, 2 touchdowns in the one pick.
Got Dalton shown to the field here.
Second and 3. Oh, intercepted. TJ Lee has it. Could this be the same result as the first half? 100 yards, second pick 6 for the BC Lions.
Was timing. This is to Dembski. It's an out as well, but this is just accuracy issue for Drew Brown. He just wants to throw back, I'm sure, because it's behind Dembski, and that DB and TJ Lee is closing from behind. He gets it 102 yards later, puts it in the end zone.
TJ Lee with his third interception of the season. That one for a touchdown. And a nightmare for Drew Brown. in terms of those interceptions as they both wound up in the Winnipeg end zone.
Pretty clean pocket. Didn't look like he was under duress there too much. Just the mechanics or something was off because that ball was in behind. Now, you know, in fairness to Drew Brown, it could have been that he expected Dembski to sit down on his route and not break out the way he did. But either way, Ryan Phillips dancing.
He's going to run the length of the field.
Dancing with T.J. Lee all the way to the end zone.
Little escort from the other side of the field from his defensive coordinator. And, you know, and we were just talking about, and there's the celebration with Lee and Phillips, but just talking about some of the good things. And there have been good things Drew Brown has done, but of course.
Oh, hey, he made it uncomfortable for these BC Lions.
He did. And they, in turn, have made it uncomfortable with him with the not just the interceptions, the results afterwards.
I tell you what, those are valuable reps, and what's happened tonight, valuable lessons to learn for Drew Brown that will serve him well if they need him.
Grant takes it off the hop. Nowhere to go. The 2 pick sixes. Sales in the first half, 45 yards, and the T.J. Lee, 102 yards. And it's a 40-24, 16-point game now. So some comfort again for BC with just over 2 minutes to go.
So, Bombers have another game against the Lions in Winnipeg in 2 weeks. They have a bye coming up. I'll get rested up, and
I would have to think, regardless, tonight has nothing to do with it. I would think you want to give Collaros some reps in that final game, do you not?
I'm not. I know many disagree.
Just a full month between games.
He's a veteran, and if there is a little bit of rust, then he'll lose it in the first series of the West Final.
That one completed to Dalton Schoen. However, talking to O'Shea earlier this week, asked him, is there anything you'd change from last year? Because remember, they had over a month between meaningful games.
And Zach threw a couple picks.
Yeah. He did. He did get in he took a rest, and he got in the final game in Calgary, and he played almost a half, and then Brown came in. So I personally, I'm just guessing, is Mike O'Shea would not tip his hand. And tonight has nothing to do with it. I mean.
Still not doing it.
You don't think so?
I'm not.
You're not going to do it.
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And you know, a couple of things. One is now you're outside. Who knows what the weather will be in 2 weeks in Winnipeg. So now, you know, if you're going to play him a little bit, it's got to be at the beginning.
Yes.
Because you got to have him through warm-up and all of that. But Zach Collaros is not new to all of this. He's a veteran player. He will prepare exactly the same way, very hard in practice. He'll be practicing as close to game speed as you can. You can't duplicate it, but as close as you can.
Right.
He will be prepared. If there'll be any rust, he'll shake it quickly. And now you haven't put him in harm's way, but also more reps for Drew Brown in case you need it.
Brown still in there. BC 48 completes that to Augustine on first down. Yard or two. But yes, O'Shea and most of these Bombers have been through this before. Recall it was late October last year, later season. They beat BC in Winnipeg 45-0 to clinch first in the West.
Timeout, Winnipeg.
And from there, they had 3 games left in the regular season and the bye before the Western Final, so 5 weeks. And I think Collaros did play a little bit in there, including the finale in Calgary. But you know what? I don't agree with you, but I commend the fact that you're sticking to your guns here. Don't play him.
You are making the argument that I've had with panel members, you know, some former quarterbacks. I know Zach probably wants to play. You know, he's probably in there saying, if you're going to play the rest of the starters, put me in too. But I'm not doing it. I just, you know, the goal, if he was a young phenom guy that you were just wanting to keep in the flow, I understand. But this is a veteran quarterback who gets it, prepares so well. I'm not taking the risk. Because it, you know, and again, you know, I hear the argument that, well, you can get hurt anytime. I mean, that's you can't really defend against getting hurt. but it's the risk-reward ratio doesn't work for me. This is a chance to three-peat. One game, West Final. I want my quarterback 100% healthy, 100% prepared with fresh legs ready to go.
And you're not worried if it's a month in between meaningful games?
Not at all.
Okay.
Not with a veteran.
Now, you've said what you'd do. What do you think Mike O'Shea is going to do? That's
exactly.
different. I will say this. I think he's going to get a quarter in that final game. That's just my hunch.
Okay.
Because things worked out last year ultimately.
And I really, really hope that I don't say I told you so. I really, really hope if that's what they decide to do.
Flags coming out on that catch by Rashid Bailey.
Just like I hope the BC Lions get Nathan Rourke back. And that's not a shot at Vernon Adams, who is going to improve to just over 500 here. But if Nathan Rourke, as Farhan mentioned at the top of the show.
Pass is complete. Unnecessary run from his face mask. BC number 1. It's a 15-yard penalty, an automatic first down.
If they can get him back for that Winnipeg game, now he's got to play in that game, even if they've already wrapped up home field for the semifinal by then with a win in Edmonton. Because I think that'll do it if they can win in Edmonton next week.
Well, I will defer to our friend Davis Sanchez on this prop.
Okay,
hang on a second here. From the 25, and that's caught by Schoen. Has a touchdown in this game. Gets it down near the 10. So how's this for a prop bet? Starting the final regular season game, BC and Winnipeg, the starting quarterback matchup, Nathan Rourke versus Zach Collaros.
Okay.
How would you weigh the odds on that?
I'll say Nathan Rourke versus
Drew Brown. That's your bet. Okay.
Well, that's what I'd do. I don't know if I'm going to put money on that.
Oh, end zone look and a touchdown. Another one thrown by Drew Brown, and another one for Rashid Bailey.
He has done some good things. He really has. I've been real impressed with how he's bounced back. Drew Brown, I'm talking about how he's bounced back from the pick sixes, but also his ability to throw on the run. He's athletic. He can get out there. He's got great speed, but he was going full speed with great accuracy too. Now he missed on a couple of those throws, and that cost him, but did some good things.
There's a well-thrown ball there for the second touchdown for Bailey. And 106. They go for 2 to see if they can get it to a one-score game. Into the end zone, and yes, they do. There's Nick Dembski, a flag coming out after he caught the ball, but that would leave them 8 points behind, 106 on the clock.
Pass interference, BC number 14. Penalties declined, and the convert is good.
Unfortunately, and this is, not anything to do with the standings or anything like that, but Nick Dembski's streak of 6 games straight with at least 1 touchdown, he's just a play away. This doesn't count. This is a 2-point convert. Well, that streak doesn't count. Now the Bombers will line up their onside kick team. And if they can somehow recover it, maybe there's a chance with 1:06 to go.
Chasing Milt Stiegel for the consecutive record for Winnipeg for touchdowns, consecutive games. But bottom line, whoever's starting at quarterback, Calgary's still very much in the mix. They get back-to-back to finish against Saskatchewan, of course.
Oh, yeah.
And still in the mix for home field, too, even though BC is about to pull ahead. But BC goes to Winnipeg, and there is the possibility they'd have to beat the Stampeders in the playoffs, regardless of where it is, of the Lions going back to Winnipeg 2 weeks later. Just one of those games that Stampeders will have something else to say, regardless, but something the Lions might be thinking about. That is their goal. That's Calgary's goal. That's BC's goal. Get to Winnipeg November 13th.
And ideally, the West Final, if it's BC and Winnipeg, and again, I'm not ruling out Calgary, if it's BC and Winnipeg, that it's a healthy, fresh Zach Collaros versus a healthy Nathan Rourke. Again, no disrespect to Vernon Adams,
but it is intriguing. I think most would agree. The way Rourke started this season.
Oh my goodness! Here we go.
So the onside kick try.
Oh.
They kick it deep.
Come from.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Decided to kick it deep. 106 on the clock.
I'm not sure. Sure in the strategy there and why they wanted to squib that.
Legal kickoff out of bounds against Winnipeg. First down on the 50-yard line.
Not sure why you wouldn't just try the onside kick there. I mean, Williams was back there. You know, he was going to round it up. And it wasn't a squib to where you hope that one of that first or second line of blockers up front, that the ball hits them. And because that is an onside kick
Timer,
attempt.
please put 106 on the clock.
Unless the ball was just mishit. It was just mishit.
So as it turns out, it's up to the 50 now. 106 on the clock, and it's BC ball. So a kick out of bounds by Mark Leggio when we thought, given the situation, they might try something onside.
How about this? The Bombers generate a 2 and out, and Janarian Grant goes back to receive but with probably about 30 seconds to go.
It'd be that kind of night, wouldn't it? I mean, it'd be kind of fitting with the way there's been some crazy plays in this. And
that's exactly what he's thinking right now.
Now you have a game where neither of the team's number one quarterback, Zach Laris or Nathan Rourke, are starting. Vernon Adams has been an established starter in the league, but you got 72 points on the board. And offenses at times have certainly been able to move the ball. You also have all those kick returns. You got 2 pick sixes for BC and scoring all sorts of ways. Which leads us to the Advil dual action play of the game. Pick a big play from this one.
Well, there was a ton of them, but we'll go right down to it was a 1-possession game, and Drew Brown driving when he was a little bit off on a throw on the out to Nick Dembski, and TJ Lee took it 102 on the pick six. 3 pick sixes last night, 1 tonight, 2. DB stepping up, and we've got the scenario now, about 30 seconds to go. Janarian Grant, they're going to kick it to him.
Can you imagine? Just say it.
They're kicking it to him.
Janarian Grant has the ball, 13 seconds on the clock. But this time, a little more kick, but he is taken down with 8 seconds on the clock. So Drew Brown over 300 yards passing, 27 to 37, 303, 3 touchdown passes, but of course he's not going to forget the 2 interceptions either. But BC about to pull ahead of Calgary again in the standings. They were tied coming into the week. They have the tiebreaker, having won 2 of 3 against the Stampeders. Calgary finishes the season with back-to-back games against Saskatchewan. And the Lions, with 2 games left, will go to Edmonton, and then they will finish off in Winnipeg in 2 weeks' time. Bombers just have that 1 game left.
So Drew Brown is going to try and take this snap, roll out, buy extra time so his receivers can gather downfield, take a deep shot, trying to hope for a penalty.
Hail Mary time. Actually, well, over the middle, and incomplete, intended for Schoen. So it goes that way. 3 seconds on the clock still.
Now, Bomber fans, are saying, hey, we didn't have our O-line, we didn't have our starting quarterback. Our defense had some changes in the linebacking core and in the secondary. And it's a 1-possession win for the BC Lions. No concerns in Bomberland. Guys had a chance for some seafood.
I was just going to say,
weather.
This city, I don't get here often, and I know how beautiful it is, and it has been just gorgeous the last couple of days. So they got a trip to Vancouver, and here we go, last play, in the hands of Bailey, and down he goes. And that's it. 72 points on the board. Winnipeg suffering just their third loss of the season. Rick Campbell and the Lions pull ahead of Calgary in that quest for home field in the playoffs and second place. And that'll be the question in the final week. We'll put that one on the back burner for a couple of weeks. Who does Winnipeg start at quarterback against the BC Lions in the season finale? Big, nice Lion defense too. All aspects of the game, and they get the win, their 11th of the season. That's it for our doubleheader. Thanks for watching. Have a great night, everybody.